Hi, this is Scott Murray, and we got good inflation numbers today, but it's not the all clear sign. The market is anticipating that inflation has gone down, but no, it's really still there in a moderate format. We still see elevated housing inflation taking a significant bite out of the consumer's wallet. In addition, secondary categories like apparel and education are still eating into the consumer's wallet. Yes, medical inflation is lower and that is helping, but there are still worrisome signs and we still have a fair amount of distance to go to relieve those concerns. But it is worth celebrating. We're at the end of the first quarter numbers. We've got 3 of them now, and they're pointing to a moderate inflation, roughly 1%. Annualize that, we see 4%. Now, that actually is similar to what we saw in the 2 previous quarters. So that is not the 2% the Fed wants, but it's much better than the preceding quarters. We went through 3 quarters ago that were producing numbers near 10% on an annualized basis. So those days are over. The spike of inflation is over. So that at least gives us some hopeful signs as we work forward. We still should note that housing is going to be problematic. Why? We still have very limited supply and the builders are still quite slow at building. Now, the good news there is they are starting to build, but the spring season will be here and there's still a lot of demand out there, particularly because we've seen good employment numbers. So people are going to want houses, low supply of existing homes and weak building activity could really set off another spike. So we could see a return to higher prices that would put in housing inflation even higher. Yes, mortgages are coming down. That's a good sign. And ultimately, we should see prices moderate, which again will be a good sign for the economy. One thing we want to keep our eyes on is medical inflation. Why? Because it was really the most significant part of inflation over the last 50 years. So we should keep our eyes on it. And it's quite a tailwind, right? Coming in at 1%. Or under 2%, I should say. But we look at the services side of the equation, it's coming under 1%. And the Fed has used this mantra of services minus housing, and that's around 6%. So you can see a 1% service, the medical inflation number, compared to 6% on other things is really quite a significant contrast. Why? Well, we saw that out of the Medicare trustee report that came out late last month. And what it did actually increase the solvency of the Medicare system in their estimate. Why? Because the lack of utilization after the pandemic. But we are seeing signs now that workers are returning to the medical field. That tells us that demand is returning and the baby boomers are still retiring and using medical services. So that's something we should keep our eyes on moving forward. So that it moves up. And that's going to take away some of the benefit that we think we're going to see as we move forward. So it's not the all clear sign. Inflation is still moving, but the important thing is we're starting to see a lowering of expectations. And that's important because inflation expectations are a key driver to inflation. It's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yes, there is some breaks in the clouds. There is some sunlight coming through. It's telling us the worst is over and that better days or a return to more normal inflation numbers will be here, but not as soon as the market expects. This is Scott Murray. Thank you for joining me.